let's just talk about lockdown. So most people who have experienced lockdown will experientially be able to validate what I'm going to say now. The more passive we became, the harder it became to think clearly, the harder it became to feel happy, healthy, positive, enthusiastic. So you see, nature is amazing, and the way we create it, the way we plait it together is phenomenal. And there's so little that we understand about the human brain and the human body and the functioning. And we very often, and I did till quite recently, not quite understood the role of the soles of your feet to your emotional well-being. You see, the Rasenschad, amazing. Everybody on this earth is pretty amazing. But I've had the privilege to learn via a Russian neurologist and a speech therapist about a lot of space research that occurred in Russia. I was not privy to that previously, and through them I have come to realize that the research indicates that there are gravitational receptors under your feet that enable you to plug in. You know, with the GPS there's a satellite. With our bodies, there's receptors under your feet that enable you to plug into gravity so you can experience current location. And as you move, you stimulate those gravitational receptors under your feet to constantly tell you where you are in space. If you've been sitting down for a long time, and now I don't mean for a couple of hours on one day, I mean over a period of time, like during lockdown, you may find that you often stumble, or you become a little bit more clumsy because those receptors became a little bit understimulated. You know that nowadays the boots that the Russian aeronauts wear, cosmonauts wear, have stimulators in the boot itself that creates stimulation as though the astronauts, the Russians are cosmonauts, are moving on gravity, just to give them that orientation in space, because that awareness, that first relationship that we have on this earth is the relationship with Mother Earth in terms of gravity. So that relationship with gravity, where you know where is down, the moment you know where is down, you can orientate yourself in space. And I'm in South Africa, and if you look at the globe, I'm actually, as I'm speaking, I'm hanging upside down because South Africa is right down at the bottom of the globe. So why aren't my hair up in the air? Well, it is a bit. But why aren't we floating around? Why is my face much more red than my feet, for example? Because the pull of gravity has an influence on blood circulation through your body. So many other systems. I'm an educator, I'm not a neurologist, so I'll stick to the simple stuff. So when you know where you are in space, current location, and when your vestibular system is developed, and your vestibular system is only gets developed when you move. You move up and down, you move straight forward, and you move in curves. Vestibular system has different ways. It's very similar to flying a plane. If you don't know what that's like, go fly a plane. So the moment, or just go stand on a jungle gym, or go and step onto an escalator, or go into a lift with see-through walls, and notice how that movement affects you. Get into a boat, and those people who get seasick, very often we use our eyes to stabilize ourselves, and in that way we overuse our eyes. With the vestibular system is that unifying system in the body that pulls your body's influence. The vestibular system is the place in the brain where the gravity information from gravity meets cognition. So if the vestibular system is faulty, it's very difficult to feel safe and secure. It's very difficult to feel confident, because if you don't know where you are, how on earth do you operate with confidence in your environment? And your posture is the one that tells us how well is your relationship with gravity. So every memory, think of anything that has happened in your life previously. It will always be connected to a specific place. Memories are associated with a place. It's always within a specific context. You cannot experience that context without the vestibular system working effectively. So the link between gravity, the vestibular system, and emotional development is very simple. It's very difficult to feel confident when you don't look confident, when your posture is indicating that you are constantly fighting this pull of gravity. It's very difficult. It's very difficult to feel confident. It's very difficult if you've been in lockdown for a long time, and if you've been sitting down for a long time. You'll feel your muscles, your body, not only do you gain weight, but your muscles become less strong and willing to move. So the less you move, the less you want to move. The harder it is to feel confident and look confident, because your muscles are maintaining your posture in an upright position, which enables information to flow all the way to the top part of the brain that says, yes, I'm not feeling so well today. But it's not every day. So the situation in my environment has changed because of lockdown, the situation in the world. But you can reason, you can rationalize, you can come up with new options, which will give you another sense of wellness. Because what's fascinating about the flow of information through the brain, it comes from the senses, it goes through the emotional part of the brain, goes to the thinking part of the brain, back through the emotional part of the brain, before it goes out through the muscles. It's very interesting. Senses, emotions, cognition, emotions, muscles, action, behavior. So information flows through the emotions twice on its way up, because that's where concentration comes in. Oh, this is interesting, I want to pay attention. Oh, this is interesting. It reminds me of memory, which enables us to learn. And on its way down, information, when information gets to the emotional part of the brain, it says, is this really important enough to act on? And if the answer is yes, you're naturally motivated to go over into action. So those of us who come up with all kinds of ideas, I'm going to change this kind of behavior. Just a couple of days and you haven't changed it, because somewhere on an emotional level, it was not important enough to change it. I hope that with this little conversation, when you look at somebody and you look at you look at their posture, let's start with ourselves. When we look at ourselves and our posture, we get motivated. We are motivated to establish our relationship with gravity and to walk with greater confidence, because that will enable you to think with greater clarity and optimism.